Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to our latest Facebook Live, going through all the roundup of social media news for January 2020. How are you all? I'm hoping you've all had a fantastic start to the new year. And I know I say it every month, but I cannot believe we're at the end of January already. Like the weeks just fly by. But we are on the 4th of February, and we are doing this live a week or so late, purely because of dates and times. And I was in London at Facebook for an updated She Means Business training session week before last. So it kind of made sense just to bump it over. If you are registered on the website, if you're signed up to our newsletters and blogs, you'll also get a written version, if you like, of our roundup that the lovely Becky pulls together each and every month for you. So if you're not, do head over to the website and subscribe to our blog. That would be amazing. Reason why we do these, for anybody who's new, and I say it all the time, but I thought quite a few years ago that it would be great to, so I'm just going to keep tweaking my camera, make sure we're all good. It would be great to have a feature on our Facebook page that gave some businesses some free value, free information about how social media is changing and what those changes mean to you, because as we know, everything moves so quickly, it's difficult to keep up with what's going on. If you haven't already, then do join the Social Media Academy. That's our exclusive Facebook group. It's free. I've tagged it in this post. And you can put any questions you like in there. You can access free support and advice, and hopefully we are building a community of support. One of the things that we do each month in there is share best practice and some examples of great content success to help us really reflect and learn about what makes good content on social, and how actually for each audience and each business it can be very different. Okay, so enough plugging of what we do here. I'm going to crack on. We haven't got loads. Last month we had tons of updates, but what updates we do have this month are really super useful. Okay, we're going to start with Twitter because there's been quite a few updates to Twitter this month. One for me that's more relevant for businesses that I needed to talk to you about was the fact that they're removing audience insights from Twitter analytics. And we will put a link, as I said, to the roundup so you can actually see the full articles of these at your own leisure. But Twitter has confirmed that it's removing the audience insights tab of Twitter analytics. So hopefully you guys look at your analytics on Twitter, analytics.twitter.com. You get a feel for how your content is being delivered, how well it's doing, what's working, what's not. But you also get information about your audience. So who's following you? What age are they? Where are they based? What are their interests? All really good information that you need when marketing. So it was quite interesting to see that they were removing this feature from analytics. However, you know, I was kind of having a chat with Becky about this. They've got to be replacing this with something. We don't know what yet, but it would seem strange to me that a platform would remove something that's of such use to its users and audiences, especially businesses who would be potentially looking to pay and promote stuff on Twitter. So they are removing it at the end of January, actually, so that's probably in the throes of being removed. If it hasn't already been removed, do log into your analytics on Twitter and get the data now while we wait to see what they're going to be introducing in replacement. So that's that. They're also enhancing lists and topics on Twitter. For anybody who doesn't use lists, this is a kind of social media hack for you, because not a lot of people know about lists on Twitter, and it's one of the most useful tools that's on there. And I discovered them kind of 5-6 years ago, talking to a colleague, and they're super useful. Obviously with Twitter there's so much noise, there's so much content. Like, how do you build up, the question is, how do you build up a following? but still see content that's relevant to you, that you're not wasting hours and hours scrolling through your newsfeed. So topics and lists are great for that. Topics was a new feature introduced last year somewhere, as a way to kind of pull in news that's of interest to you into one place. Lists do the same thing. You can put specific Twitter users on your list so that actually you can just really hone in on their content so that you can engage and learn and inform. But Twitter is now working to give lists and topics even more focus, with a range of updates to help improve content discovery and connect more people. So I think they're really aware of the need to make conversations more relevant, and they want to make the platform a more relevant place for people to go, as opposed to like all this noise. So to help people better understand what they'll see in their timeline if they follow a specific topic, Twitter's developing new preview elements on topic listings, which would display things like related hashtags and follow accounts, as well as notes on how active that topic is in the app. We've written here that a particularly helpful potential addition is the estimate of daily tweet volume, which is great. So if you'd be able to see before you follow those topics, actually how many tweets are being sent each day to do with that topic or hashtag. So then you can decide whether or not that's worth becoming a fan and following. Twitter's working on a location option, which would not only enable users to signify they're interested in tweets from or about a region too, but also with specific elements of that area they're most interested in being updated about. So some really useful updates there as a way to, I'm hoping, I'm sure this is why they're doing it, to kind of re-energize the platform and the content that's on there to make it more timely, useful and relevant for everybody. So if you do start having a play with those new features, I recommend you do. Let us know in the Social Media Academy, and we would love to hear what you think. Nice little bit of news, I say nice, but there's always an ongoing debate with Twitter about the edit option. And I think it was, again, last year, maybe the year before, it tends to happen quite often actually, the hashtag will trend around all we want is an edit button on Twitter. But there was an interview with Wired in January where the CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, said that an edit button is definitely not on the cards still. And basically, as he quite rightly says, when Twitter started, it was sending tweets almost like text messages. And, you know, once you put that out there, you can't delete them, you can't edit them. It's kind of quite authentic. And that's what they want to keep. They want to keep that authenticity and keep that vibe, inverted commas is what he was saying, from when they first started. I know this is a controversial topic, and I'd love to know what you guys think about this, because I'm all right with it. I think there are times when I've put stuff out on Twitter and go, darn it, because I wish I could edit that. And by rule of thumb, I don't like to delete tweets. I have deleted a few tweets in the past, but by rule of thumb, I don't like to delete stuff because, you know, as soon as you've tweeted something, it could have been screen grabbed, shared, retweeted, liked, commented on. And if somebody else sees that, goes back to your feed, and your content isn't there, it can create a kind of element of mistrust. So I can understand why editing is kind of high on the agenda for users, but I also think by not having an edit function, it really does force content creators to think about what they're writing, and to also be more authentic with the app and in the moment, and know that, you know, we make mistakes, and if we make mistakes, correct those. So yeah, there's definitely not going to be an edit function anytime soon. And what else have we got here? Twitter provides a first look at coming feature, which will enable users to limit who can reply to their tweets. I think we spoke about this in last month's roundup as well, adding more control, really as a way to stop trolls and spammers kind of jumping on feeds and conversations. In testing, there is a new option which would provide the user with 4 different audience settings. So when they create content, these settings would be global, so anyone can reply to the tweet. Group, only people you follow or mention would be able to reply. A panel, so only people you directly mention within the tweet text itself would be able to reply. Or statement, which would mean that no tweet replies would be allowed, which is quite interesting. And this is similar to how Facebook works, particularly on profiles, but it's also a feature of LinkedIn accounts when you create content there. So this is set to be rolled out later in the year, but I think this will give more control over people creating content. You'll be able to limit respondents to only those who are tagged in that discussion. You would be able to facilitate interview-style discussions, which could be great for hosting live chats, and also things like celebrity Q&As or any content that's around a kind of high-profile events. Will using this feature will stop those often flooded feeds with spam, and it will put a stop to that. So that's really cool. Okay, and we've got a couple of Facebook updates that are worth talking about. Would be Facebook cracking down on fake review sellers following push from UK regulators. Facebook has vowed to take more action in removing fake reviews and fake review sellers from its platform. I can put my hands up and say I wasn't even aware people were selling fake reviews on Facebook. I've certainly not seen any fake reviews or been approached by any, but it doesn't surprise me that happens. So that's great that they are continuing to crack down on stuff like that. According to the CMA estimates, more than 3/4 of UK shoppers are influenced by reviews when they shop online. Very true, highlighting the potential scope of fake reviews. And a lack of action on such activity, which is illegal under UK consumer protection law, could lead to more significant regulatory action. So we'll pop that news link as well in the update for you. And one of the biggest updates, I think, for Facebook last month was the fact they are pulling back on the rumor, I guess, or the original idea to start monetizing WhatsApp. So it goes without saying that this was probably always on the agenda now that Facebook fully owns WhatsApp. But I think due to some backlash and kind of investigations, they have decided that they are going to hold off on any plans to monetize the platform. And the article clearly states that in a deviation from its normal monetization strategy, Facebook is reportedly reversing course on its plans to insert ads into messaging platform WhatsApp. And that would mean that while WhatsApp has more than 1.5 billion users, it won't be contributing significantly to Facebook's overall revenues anytime soon. Interesting, but I think ads would be quite intrusive within private messenger, within WhatsApp, just like it is within other private messenger apps. So I think you have to be really careful when building those in. And when we look at the trend of social media use, as soon as advertising starts to flood into those platforms, you then start to see the user drift away and set up new platforms or go to new platforms and start using things in very different ways. I think the kind of overpublication and the kind of mass uptake of businesses on platforms like Facebook, and then the introduction of ads kind of reshifted after a couple of years of users connecting with people privately over message as opposed to publicly. And I think sometimes advertising is a result of that. Is the kind of cause of that. So interesting, and I'm sure they'll be working on some ways that they can monetize WhatsApp, and I'm sure we will keep you in the loop with what that looks like. Instagram officially begins testing DMs in its desktop version, so another interesting development for Instagram, and I do wonder how long it will be until they add the ability to create content directly from Instagram on desktop in terms of photography. But it gradually they're introducing more and more features. This will be many news. This will be welcome news to many Instagram marketers. After the functionality was first spotted in testing in February last year, Instagram has now confirmed it will begin a small rollout of direct message access through the web-based version of its app. Instagram says that a small percentage of users will initially be given access to the option but the process is still very much in test phase. And I think we spoke about in the last roundup as well, the fact that Facebook is still working on plans to integrate all messaging apps. So Instagram DMs, WhatsApp and Messenger and Facebook will all be able, your DMs or direct messages for those platforms will all be accessible from one online desktop version in the months to come, I'm certain. But yes, so it goes on to say here that maybe Instagram adding DM access to the web is another element in that gradual process. And as I've said for probably the last couple of years, it'll be interesting to see how WhatsApp as a platform continues to develop its web access, its web version and access to that. And I wonder if it's a matter of time before we can start uploading photos directly natively to the platform through our desktop. We shall see. And then finally for today, I'm going to quickly touch upon something again I predicted last year when we first saw LinkedIn video come through on the platform. Then we saw LinkedIn Live, and I said it's only a matter of time before LinkedIn Live comes to company pages. Well, guess what? Ta-da! Almost a year after first launching its native live stream option for selected users, LinkedIn is now expanding that functionality to company pages. It's officially adding a new option to invite personal first-degree connections to follow a business page that you manage. So that's been a really useful tool, actually, because I mentioned it last month. But business pages for really small companies I find difficult to grow and much less significant in kind of networking and brand exposure than profiles. So now that they've introduced this feature to actually grow your business page by inviting people to follow it, similar to Facebook, the introduction of live video for company pages, I think, is starting to accelerate their focus on what company pages on the platform look like and what they can do. No doubt this is from user feedback, but I think it's a fantastic addition to the platform. And really, again, if you're not using video yet on LinkedIn, jump on board now while it's still not overly saturated. And if you've got a company page, start growing it and start integrating this feature. Live videos, particularly on LinkedIn, if you're thinking about strategy, should really be focused on value and thought leadership. People, when we talk about live video, tend to get really excited and just start going live everywhere at the drop of a hat, but it really needs to be planned, targeted and thought through. So think about things like employee stories, employee knowledge, interviews, that type of thing, as well as any thought leadership pieces, such as what I'm doing here on Facebook. Just a little suggestion there, a little taste of what you could do for LinkedIn. Cool. That's it, guys, and I'm bang on 20 minutes, which is fantastic. I've been able to rein them back over the last few months and stop going over our 20-minute slot. Thank you so much to the small group of people who have watched today. I know so many of you watch on the replay, which is awesome, but thank you for those who have watched live. I really appreciate it. Guys, if you have any questions, do just let me know in the comments. Or, like I said, I've tagged in our exclusive Facebook group, the Social Media Academy. So if you've got any questions ever, you can always ask us in there. Reach out and we'll pick them up as soon as we can. Our next live is going to be in just a few weeks' time because I'm trying to not push too many back. So we will have one at the end of Feb. I'm looking forward to that. 20 minutes, last Monday of the month we tend to do them on, so I hope you can join us. What else have I got to tell you? We've got a few face-to-face events. If you're in Wiltshire, do come and meet the team and meet other entrepreneurs at our next She Means Business event, which is on the 18th of Feb, I believe. But do check out the events page. We've got some opportunities for you to meet the team for some free training as well. So do come along. And if you've got any questions, need anything at all, do shout out and let us know. But until next time, I hope to speak to you soon. We'll pop the link to the blog post into the comments shortly. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and rest of your February. Speak to you soon. Bye.